Daytona International Speedway, 2.5 miles of banked asphalt track, the world's fastest motor speedway, scene of the classic Daytona 500 and the famous Firecracker 400, featuring America's fastest drivers in stock cars, competing before thousands of racing fans for the richest prizes in stock car racing. But in all the history of the famous Daytona Raceway, the most incredible event was run before empty grandstands. There were only a handful of cars, yet they were destined to rewrite the pages of automotive history. It was called the Comet Durability Run, a triumph at Daytona. Start them around the world's fastest track at record-breaking speeds. Pause only for pit stops and see how far they could run. And now it's 82,000 miles, October 22nd. 90,000 miles on the 26th. And the engines roar full throat. Minutes away now. Finally, one more lap. And the lead car clicks past the 99,999 mile mark. And crashes toward and under the flag stand where it all began, a fantastic continuous journey more than 40 days ago, over 960 hours ago. Final scoreboard. All 4 participating Comets finished the 100,000-mile run at an average speed of over 108 miles per hour.
Greetings and welcome back to Track Day Classics. In today's video, I'm going to show you my new project, a car that's been hidden away for over 52 years. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the car, how I found it, and then we're going to go about tearing it down and beefing up the chassis. Ever since we moved from the West Coast to the East Coast, I've been looking for a new project. Some of my possible candidates for a new project were an early Falcon, a 64 two-door Fairlane, and maybe even another Mustang. Until I saw this. For 1964, Mercury built about 190,000 Comets. Of those, about 46,000 were the two-door sedan, 31,000 were the two-door hardtop Caliente, a little over 9,000 were convertibles, the 289 hypo-equipped Cyclone, where only 7,454 were made, and finally, the rarest of all the Cyclones, the lightweight factory drag racer, equipped with the legendary 427. Even though a two-post sedan can be made to look pretty good like this example, I really liked the no-post, no B-pillar, fastback roof of the Caliente. So I kept my eyes open, and then I saw this car on Facebook Marketplace. This was the kind of car I was looking for. It was a good shell, and it didn't have a drivetrain, but that's okay because I already had all those parts. Unfortunately, it was sold before I had a chance to even go look at it. So having decided what car I wanted, I joined the 1964 Comet group on Facebook. I told the group I was looking for a good shell, and I immediately got this response. After I was sent more photos, I said, wait a minute, I know this car. This is the car I was trying to get before. So my wife Amy and I hooked up our trailer, drove 5 hours one way down to Virginia, met the owner, and made the deal. So here's my newest project, a 1964 Mercury Comet Caliente. So let's start with the outside of the car. First thing I'm going to need are the tail light lenses and the back panels, which I already got. There's a dent here, and it looks like somebody tried to pound out a dent there. But other than that, the car looks exceptionally straight. And underneath here, under the wheel well lip, it feels rust free. There's no rot there. Got a little bit on the outside. Almost feels like somebody might have tried to pound that out, but I can't really tell. The door was missing, but the window trim is all here. The back window trim is all here. The window's not broken. And the front window trim is all here. And then this is the scary part. Last registered 1971, April. This is a 64, so there were 7 years where this car was on the road. Up here it looks like there's some damage, but I think I can straighten all that out. The roof's got a bunch of waves in it, as does the rear trunk, has some waves in it. And the hood also looks like somebody stood on it right there. Front fender is nice and straight. I'm not sure, but that almost looks like primer under an original coat, although the car may have been repainted. I'm not a paint guy, so I really couldn't tell you. This fender is in really good shape. And again, if you look down the sides, other than the door that's all warped, cattywampus, pretty straight. No rust there. No rust under here at all. And trim is missing on this side as well. In the back, the nice Comet trim that would be right here. I think the word Comet is in here. But that looks pretty good. Pennsylvania license plate. that kind of jives with what I saw on the window sticker for 71. This is 1970. This might be this car. Look at that, wow. Yep, sounds like a new gas tank. So this is why I bought this car. There's hardly any rust. The only spots where the hole's broken through, it looks like somebody tried to pry on the emergency brake bracket down there. But look at this floor. Now the car has seen a respray, and I don't know what the circumstances were. But the floor looks really good. Same thing with the trunk. Usually you see some rot around here, but there's nothing. Here's the passenger side, where you would normally see rot. Be in the corner here, because this is where all the water puddles up. Aha! There is something. We found it. We found the only rot in the floor right there. Don't know what happened there. That looks kind of like a booger weld right there. So maybe this car has had its floors replaced. It's hard for me to tell, because I'm not a body man. But if they replaced them, I think they did a pretty good job. It doesn't look like anything was patched in. This looks like a big one-piece floor, just like it should. Well, wasn't that fun? So it took about a week to take everything out. Took out the gas tank, took out the drivetrain underneath, took out all the suspension minus leaf springs, they're still on. Cleaned out the engine bay. Of course, I pulled off the fenders, pulled off the door, pulled off the hood and trunk lid, and took out all the glass. And that's the last thing I've done as of today. So tomorrow, I'm expecting a really cool tool that I've wanted for a real long time. Okay, now we have a good look at everything we have to worry about, which looks like not a whole lot. This thing is, I keep saying it, but I can't help myself. It's rust free. It's got some surface rust. Here's a little bit of damage on the transmission support. I think we can straighten that out. The rockers all look good. A little bit of rust up here in this torque box, but again, not a whole big deal. Not a big problem, rather. It's got some rust up here in the torque boxes, but this is all surface rust. So yeah, we got a pretty good car. Pretty good car. And that's it right there. That's the extent of the rot. And it looks like it got hit in the back too. Something happened up here. God, this is so weird. I've never worked on a car this way. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just imagine running all your fuel lines and your brake lines while the car's up on its side. That's going to be really nice. Next thing to do is to weld in some support brackets here, subframe connectors. They're on order. They should be here any day. But again, this is going to be a lot of fun working on a car on its side. I don't have to crawl under it. So I got these subframe connectors from Tin Man Fabrications. And the reason I want subframe connectors is to help stiffen up the car. It makes a big difference. So what these are is square tube, and they have some tabs that are welded onto them. And let me show you how those are supposed to work. On the back, the subframe sits up underneath and against this, and then this is all welded to the frame, as well as portions of this. The directions indicate the first thing to do is to measure 3 1/4 inches in front of the cross member and mark it. think I'm going to try to fix this by cutting it. I'm going to cut through here, try to pull this piece back, and maybe notch this a little bit, or just slice it rather. Try to bring these pieces back up, and then I'm going to weld them back together. That's the plan. Here is my repair for the wonky cross member. And I think it looks like doo-doo. So I bought a Mustang cross member because you can't get one for a Falcon or a Comet. And the Mustang rails, if you don't know this, are about 1 1/16 to 1 1/8 inch wider than the Falcon and the Comet. They're somewhat similar. This is going to take some fabrication skills, I see. But I'm going to go ahead and drill out the old one, and we'll see how good this turns out. This might work. I'm going to have to do a little bit of pie cutting here. But yeah, high hopes. This might be a good fix. So right about now, you're probably looking at this and saying, that looks even worse than what you started with. Maybe you should just fab one up from scratch. Well, that's exactly what I did. I grabbed some 2x2 square tube and some 1/4 inch by 4 inch cold rolled steel plate and put together what you see here, which is actually pretty strong. So that's it for now. In the next episode, I'm going to concentrate on straightening out some of this bodywork. So until next time, thanks for watching.